Good morning, children. We are continuing with the same chapter that we discussed on Monday. Okay, so now we learned that there is a cat in the wood and he is very lazy, doing nothing. Every night he used to play his violin and that disturbs others. Okay, if only you could have seen him curled in the warm, smooth hollow of his tree, gazing up through the hole at the top of the trunk, smiling at the stars, winking at the moon, his violin tucked under his chin. Ah, cat was a happy one. So, these animals and birds are saying that if only you could have seen him. If we are seeing him first time, we will see what he just curled in the warm, smooth hollow of his tree. So he is just staying inside a hollow on the tree. And every time he is just looking at the stars. He is just smiling, then winking at the moon. And every time his violin is tucked, he plays his violin under his chin. And he was a happy one. And all night long he sat there composing his tunes. Composing means making, okay? So now all the night he just sat there and he will produce his new tunes. But actually, for only cat, all that are tunes, but for others, they are just nightmares because all the other animals do work all the daytime and they just want to take rest at the night. And what our cat is doing all the daytime, he used to sleep, and at the night he just making or composing his tunes. Okay, now the creatures didn't like this at all. They saw no use in his music. It made no food, it built no nest, it didn't even keep him warm. And the way cat lounged around all day sleeping in the sun was just more than they could stand. So, creatures, that means that animals and birds are saying what? They don't like the cat's behavior. Why? They think that, or they saw, they find out what there was no use in his music. It does not help to find out food, or this music didn't build any nest, and it didn't even keep him warm. So all the day and all the way, cat lounged around. Lounged around means sat lazily. Okay, so they are saying that there is no use. There is no use for this cat's behavior. It does not help them to make food or make nest or this even keep him warm. And what he is doing? He is just, and they can't imagine and they can't even think that all the daytime the cat is just taking rest. It's sleeping in the sun. And every time and all the daytime he just sleeps and sat lazily all the daytime. So they are very much disturbed by the cat's behavior. And they think that all the other creatures think that how unworthless this cat is. There is no use for his music, and at the daytime they disturb others also. He's a bad example, said Beaver. So children, beaver is an animal, okay? Beaver. So he's a bad example, said Beaver. He never does a stroke of work. Stroke of work means any work. Okay. He never does a stroke of work. What if our children think they can leave us idle as he does? Idly means lazily. Okay. So Beaver is saying that he is an best example. If our children started to imitate this cat, what will happen? If so, their thought is correct because why? Huh? Because the cat is an what? Huh? Yes, cat is doing anything. He is just sleeping all daytime and at the night he used to compose his tunes. If their children also started imitating his life, what will happen? That is our beaver's tension. Okay, it's time, said Vyasel. That cat could had a job like everybody else in the world. So Vyasel, it's also an animal. So it also says that it's a time that cat could have a job. Everyone. So they just think that if the cat had a job, he will engage in that, and at the night time, just like others, he will also take rest. So the creatures of the wood formed a committee to persuade cat to take a persuade means to compel, to force. Okay, so the creatures of the wood, that means of that small forest, formed a committee to persuade cat to take a job. Jay, Magpie, and Parrot. Children, Jay and Magpie are also birds. Okay, just like parrot, but it does not like parrot. Looks like parrot, but it's a bird. So they went along at dawn and sat in the topmost twigs. Twigs means small branches. Okay, topmost twigs of cat's old tree. As soon as cat poked his head out, they all began together. You have get a job, get a job, get a job. So they are just planning to do something. They just sat in the topmost branch of cat's old tree where the cat's home is. So they just sat there. And dawn means night time, okay? As soon as cat poked his head out, they started saying something. What was that? You have to get a job, get a job, get a job. Now we can look at what happened. This was only the beginning of it. So this was only the beginning of it. So from the day itself, they are planning to do something. So that was the first day. First day, what happened? Jay, Magpie, and Parrot just sat. They just sat at the top of the cat's. Cat's old tree where the cat's home is, and they just says what, get a job, get a job. All day long, everywhere he went, those birds were at him. So that day onwards, the birds just followed him. That is given there. All day long, everywhere he went, those birds were at him. Get a job, get a job, get a job. So they just followed him and uttered these words. What? Get a job, and get a job. And try as he could, cat could not get even one wing of sleep. One wing of sleep. That means he can't even sleep. He can't even close his eyes. That night he went back to his children. I am sorry. I made a mistake. Dawn means it's a morning time and dusk is evening time. Okay, I am sorry. I am so sorry. So once more. Dawn means morning. Okay, DW, and dusk is evening. Sorry. Okay. So that night he went back to his tree early. He was far too tired to practice on his violin and fast asleep in a few minutes. Why the cat was too much tired? Because of that birds he can't even he can't even close his eyes. They were just saying get a job and get a job. Okay. So he just fell fast asleep, and that night he couldn't even practice on his violin also. Next morning, then he poked his head out of the tree at first light. The three birds of the committee were there again, loud as ever, get a job. So next day also the three birds from the committee just uttered the same word. What was that? Get a job. Cat ducked back down into his tree and began to think. Ducked back means what? Lowered head and body quickly in order to escape. So he just get inside his home and he just started thinking. What was that? He was going to start grubbing around in the wet woods all day, as they wanted him to. Oh no! He wouldn't have any time to play his violin if he did that. There was the only one to do, and he did it. Huh? So, what he just planned to do, grubbing around means searching for food. So, he tucked his violin under his arm and suddenly jumped out at the top of the tree and set off through the woods at a run. Behind him, shouting and calling, came Jay, Maggie, and Parrot. So, now we can have a look at what our cat is doing. So, the cat just the cat just get inside that hollow of the tree, and he just started thinking something. What was that? He was going to start grubbing around in the wet woods all day as they wanted him to. So actually they wanted that the cat will go around in search of food, but he is not doing like that. Oh no, he wouldn't have any time to play his piano if he did that. But one thing, he is not even playing his piano. There was the only thing to do and he did. So he is doing something. The only thing he can do it. And what was that? He tucked his violin under his arm and suddenly jumped out of the top of the tree and set off. Set off means start, to start a journey. Set off through the woods at a run. So he's just running. Behind him, shouting and calling, came Jay, Maggie, and Parrot. So behind him, they are following him. Who? Jay, Magpie, and Parrot. Other creatures that were about their daily work in the undergrowth looked up when Cat ran fast. No one had ever seen Cat run before. Actually, our cat is very lazy. He is just moved slowly. But today, he is just running as fast as he could. So all of them are wondered. Undergrowth means small thick bushes covering the ground. Small bushes. Okay. Then cats up to something. They called to each other. Call means they said to each other. Maybe he is going to get a job at last. So they are just conversing between each other that he might in search of a job. Deer, wild boar, bear, ferret, mongoose, porcupine, and a cloud of birds set off after Cat to see what he was going. Where he was going. So just all the creatures, including birds and animals and everyone, are just following the cat to find out where he was going. After a great deal of running, they came to the edge of the forest. There they stopped. So they were stopped at the edge of the forest. So children, this is what happened. So the rest of the story we can discuss in the next class. So today this is enough for you. Thank you and have a nice day, children.